all these other services that others in our county provides. They get access to, easy enough to pick up the phone and have a phone we call conversation. When I'm speaking, I have a three-way conversation with the other people that provide health services. So moving it to access the other services, it's kind of weird because you can still access them. But would the patient go there? Where would the patient feel most comfortable? And that is around the veterans. So please take that into consideration as one of your primary goals. What are you doing for the individual? How is that going to help them? Not just a budgetary thing. To reclassifying and pay raise to get more qualified people should have happened already. Wages are depressed in this county, and I think depressed on purpose because we're a poor county. But look at it from the patient's point of view. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me remind you, the Veteran Service Office is not being moved. Mr. Mueller, and you, Mueller. Thank you, sir.
My name is Charles Moose Mueller. I think most of you know me. I came here by accident years ago when I left Vietnam in '71. They sent me to her law. As you can see, I'm still here. And what we're trying to say is, yes, you're not moving it, but you're moving parts of it, and also you're losing. When a person comes out of service, he or she feels more comfortable with a military person talking to him, and also the Veterans Office Commission in 1925 was bought by, the land was bought by a lot of veterans and given to the county for the Veterans Hall. We use it constantly. We feel that we can best serve these people coming back because nobody knows a veteran more than a veteran. And I have my heart and soul on this. I had 20 years in the Army, and I feel that I and the other military people here know what these people need, and all we want to do is to have them start with us so we can assist them and to get them going. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Jerry Moffett.
Good morning. My name is Gary Moffett from Janesville. I'm a United States Navy veteran of the Vietnam conflict, and I'm a little confused. I talked to Mr. Egan. I want to thank you for your professionalism and kindness again. I thought you did a really great job for the board. But here today, I'm hearing from the board that they're not moving the Veterans Office, but we just heard from the lady that they're moving the Veterans Office. So there's a little confusion going on here regarding this. I've seen the memo that was written by the head of the department. It specifically stated the Veteran Service Officer was going to be moved to the Health Service Building over by the Roosevelt Pool. And I just think that that's totally inappropriate. Right now, currently in the Vietnam community, or in the veterans community, there are 22 veterans a day that are committing suicide. There are 3 out of 10 homeless people in the United States are veterans. 1 out of 10, approximately 1 out of 10 felons in California is a veteran. We got some serious problems here. People, they came back, they're a mess. Same way with Vietnam, but right now, they're getting taken care of if we can get a hold of them. And the easiest way to do that is a place where they feel safe, they feel comfortable, they don't feel comfortable around bureaucracies. I think it's incumbent upon this board to ensure that any veteran seeking help in Lassen County to go to the Vets Hall and get that help. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you,
This proposal is about reclassifying the Veteran Service Officer position and changing the organization chart. It's not about moving anyone anywhere.
The memo that was written, the lady who wrote the memo might
in December.
Ms. Raleigh?
Yeah, that was my proposal to explore a move, and I haven't even started on that process.
All I can tell you is I sent a copy of the letter from the Veterans Officer at the Vets Hall, and they're all concerned because there's been meetings that have taken place regarding the move.
I have had no meetings with anyone regarding the move. I don't know who's been meeting, but it hasn't been me because I've had other...
The newspaper also is under the impression that the vets are being moved out of Vets Hall. And that's been going on since November.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but that is
Well, it
not...
came from a memo that was written by Ms. Rock. And it specifically stated that the vets would be moved, and it offered the reasons why they thought it was a good idea.
I do think there are some reasons for that, but I said I would explore it, and I asked the board for permission to explore it, and I have not started that process yet. And I apologize if there was a misunderstanding, but I have no plans to move anyone at this time.
Okay, well, that would be good if you let the veterans know because...
I would never move without having stakeholder meetings, because I know their presence there is very important to you. And I would never propose that. I told the board I would explore it, and I frankly have not had time to do much exploration, but exploring includes stakeholder meetings. So, no, I would not move anyone without my due diligence being done. So I apologize if there was a misunderstanding, but no one's being moved anywhere at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Raleigh, for the clarification. Bob Stone.
Bob Stone, lifelong resident of Lassen County, Vietnam veteran. Mr. Raleigh's remarks just now almost makes my remarks moot. But I'm going to continue with them. I'm still concerned about this movement that she may propose to move these offices down the line. And I think before a decision or even a consideration is made regarding this office movement of the offices in that building to wherever it may end up, Roosevelt School, whoever knows. There's a little history behind that, which Moose touched on. I hold the deed in my hand from the American Legion post that originally bought that property that the building sits on. And I'd like to read from it. It's a letter dated January 30th, 1926, to the Board of Supervisors. We are attaching hereto a deed and certificate of title to the lot directly across from the high school on Lower Main, describes the size. This property is presented to the county of Lassen without cost, free of all encumbrances, with the understanding that construction of a memorial building thereon will be commenced during the spring of 1926. We wish to request that this deed and certificate of title be formally accepted at the very meeting report, that your acceptance show the above provisions. Sincerely, Thomas Tucker, Post 204, C.H. Vincent, Chairman. Now, this Veterans Memorial Building was built for the purpose to serve Lassen County veterans and to honor and respect their service to the country. Built to serve the needs and concerns of all veterans, past, present, and hopefully the future. In front of Lassen High School stands a small memorial with the names of 5 of my friends and fellow alumni that lost their lives in Vietnam. I think Mr. Pyle remembers them as he went to school with them. I remember them every day I drive past between those two buildings, high school, memorial buildings. It faces The memorial faces the front doors of the memorial buildings directly across the street, not by accident, but by design. The families of the boys on this little monument went to this building, the memorial building, and to the Veterans Service Office within to seek the help in dealing with the loss of their sons. A building that brought some comfort to them, knowing what the memorial building signifies: honor, respect, and service to all veterans, both fallen and living. To send veterans and their families away from that hall, whether it's just a proposal or whether it's really actually going to happen, or already has, who knows, would be utterly disrespectful to all concerned. As a veteran, I just won't stand for that. The veterans don't turn their backs on any veteran, past or present. After seeing a letter addressed to Supervisor Pyle from Ms. Brawley dated February 15th, and reviewing the VSO proposal of Ms. Brawley's request, will do nothing to serve the county or the veterans, as it seems the veterans are being used as political pawns for the benefit of Ms. Brawley's personal agenda and advancement in her career. Wrong. So please withdraw this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Corey Keeling.
My name's Corey Keeling, United States Marine Corps combat vet, disabled. The fact that I would have to go to social services offices to have any type of help, talk to anybody in that office, it's repulsive, absolutely repulsive. Veterans, like the gentleman sitting out here today, we talk to each other. We don't talk to people that have no idea. We can't. They don't have a clue. VA services, these people are trained to deal with us and our issues. A lot of younger vets nowadays, there's no way they're going to go there. They'll walk right past it and you can have more problems. This is a joke. VA is set up for a reason. VA is set up to deal with us and our problems and our issues, not going to a welfare office or social services office. It's hard enough dealing with the bureaucracy that's in the VA, let alone going into something else, having to deal with their problems. One second they're dealing with a veteran, next second they're dealing with somebody that's never even had a clue what we went through. This is I can't even believe this is sitting in front of this board right now. So that's not going to be good.
Good, thank you. Barbara?
My name is Barbara Keeling. I am the wife of a veteran. His family has fought in every war since the Revolution. And they've pretty much all the men in the family have been in a war or another. Now, I question the legality of moving the Veteran Services to the HSS office. I am a former employee of the HSS office in Tehama County in Red Bluff. I know for a fact they are not qualified to deal with veteran issues. If someone calls you on the phone and they're cursing and yelling, you hang up. You cannot hang up on a veteran. The fact that they are even on the phone trying to get help, even if it's just a vent, is a big deal. And you need to take that opportunity to help them. With a lot of veterans committing suicide nowadays, we need them to be able to call and speak to someone that is a veteran, that has been in battle. We will never know what that's like. And they do. I know how hard it was for my husband to even go to the Veterans Office to begin with. They treated him poorly in Reading until they changed the way they ran things. Being a veteran is a very difficult thing for them. They have a lot of stuff to deal with when they come back. And they need to be able to speak to people that are veterans. Not speak to someone that makes $14 an hour and has no idea what it's like to be in battle. I'm also questioning the funds. How are you taking federal funds and putting them into state? I think that may be a misappropriation of funds. So do not dishonor our veterans by moving their services. We would be the only county in the state of California that would have veteran services with the HSS. So should our veterans stand in line behind the welfare people? The illegal immigrants? Who's going to take priority? Thank you.
Tom Moeller, is that right? Like Moeller.
I think that was me again, and I want to speak at Jefferson. Thomas Moeller or Tom Moeller?
Okay, you got 3-5 on there. You want to speak on Jefferson? Okay, is there anybody else in the public that wishes to speak that I missed, sir?
Well, I put my first one in, and I want to see you coming up.
Yeah, probably got you in the state of Jefferson. Ron Wood, H5. H5 is veteran, I'm sorry. I got you in the wrong file. File got you in the wrong file.
Good afternoon, Chairman, board members, County Council, and CEO. My name is Ron Wood. Joined the Marine Corps in 1969, retired in 1993. Did a little time. Had two little zones I was in. We called it the playground. That was Vietnam and Desert Storm. Been in the county about 19 years. We have a problem. And this proposal that was submitted by the Director of Health and Social Services, I mean, everybody keeps not referring to it, but it's the gist of this whole meeting, I'm assuming. And it says on here, in addition, I'm proposing to explore the possibilities of relocating the VSO within the Adult Service Division of the Community Social Service Department at 720 Richmond Road. That tells me, I know we're not going to move it. I had discussions with several members on the board. That's not the issue right now. The issue is we call it by reclassification. I looked at the agenda item today, and it talks about, one, reorganizing the Veteran Service Office from separate departments to the Health and Social Services. Again, I will not. I'm 80% disabled vet, service connected. I will not ever go with social services for anything. I will not call over there as a veteran trying to get assistance. I deal directly out of that office in Reno, because I don't even down at this office, it's a small community, people talk. I don't need my personal business, especially when you got people not qualified. I mean, one of the criteria was they have it accessible for the phones, for the clerks, administrative assistants to answer the phones for the veteran they call in. And that's not going to work. And again, it's a stigma. People are not going to go, veterans are not going to go to the welfare department. We're not on welfare. And we're not going over there for any kind of assistance. That's not going to happen. I mean, again, as I mentioned before, veterans enjoy and they feel comfortable. There's some of the old vets in here, we were sitting one down on a Friday afternoon having lunch, which we do every Friday at the Veterans Hall to feed the veterans. Well, one guy just got back from Afghanistan, and he walks up to two of us, and that was Delmer Brown and myself, and he says, I really feel safe when I'm in this building, and I'm with you guys. And I mean, that's the situation you have in that Veterans Hall. I know we need a VSO. And I mean, the salary, the $22, $21, that is great. My concern is we don't lower the credentials for that either. I mean, I've passed you out the flyers, and there's the job descriptions for the VSO, Veteran Service Representative, and the Veterans Peer Representative. They all have criteria for that qualifications. And I hope if we do this reclassification, which I think is bold, I mean, going to a program department head to a program coordinator, no. I'm not going to tell you my personal experience. I used to work for the welfare department in Mono County. And I can tell you right now, it's about money. It's all about money. I had 2 Indian reservations there as an employment training worker. I put them to work. If they didn't work, I sanction them. I take their money. So what happens? I work myself out of a job. And I don't think it was because of that. I think it was because of the funding. They didn't have the clients, so they didn't need me anymore. So I went fishing and hunting for another 5 years. So my concern right now is the Veteran Service Officer. I know we're not going to try to, we haven't done it yet because my concern was we haven't got one yet, is that we need a Veteran Service Officer. Just somebody that can supervise and manage that building right there right now. Because I don't think we have the supervision in that building or the expertise to deal with federal regulations, because that takes a bachelor's degree and experience to run that program. And I mean, I hope we don't, if we do approve the reclassification, we don't lower the credentials, because it's very important that we have somebody there that has the background, with the educational background to do it. Second thing I'm looking at is the reclassification. That question comes to me is who is the Veteran Service Officer going to report to? I think as a veterans, we appreciate the fact is our Veteran Service Officer can come up here and talk to you and directly talk to you and not go through the Director of Health and Social Services so she can come up and talk to you. I want that Veteran Service Officer to be our mouthpiece. He's got to have direct contact with you people. He's got to. And I don't have a problem with it. If he has to brief her first, the director, that is fine. But he should be able to come up here and talk to you and represent us vets directly to you, not going through a third person. And having another person, because the concept that was supposed to happen was I think the director was going to come up and talk to you about veterans items. And I hope that doesn't come about, but that's not going to happen either. It shouldn't happen because, again, she has no background in the veterans, as a veteran. She doesn't know the programs that the veterans know. I mean, you can brief somebody, and they can come in and tell you, well, this is what the book says. That's not what it's all about. A veteran is our mouthpiece, and they need to come in here and be able to address you and talk to you. So this proposal that was submitted, I've been told that it's basically, the only thing we're talking about today is a reclassification. Well, reclassification and that veteran, that VSO, that Veteran Service Officer, be able to direct you and communicate with you directly. That's very important for us as veterans. And again, I gave you those handouts so you know what their jobs are. I mean, the director read some of it off today, what section there, but it tells you what their qualifications are, and I'm a stickler for that, and I want that to stay if I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on this subject?
My name is Ira McCain. We have a son. His name is Commander Everett Douglas McCain. He served in the Persian Gulf War as a helicopter pilot with General Petraeus, not General Schwarzkopf. He was in the Navy. Pardon me, it hurts. He finally was transferred from from the Navy to the Army because of his age and his experience. And then he served underneath Petraeus in the Iraq War. I thought that Ever and I, with our education and my experience, that Douglas would come back the same young man that he was before he left. But when he came back in 2007, he was completely changed. Ever and I wanted to go see him right away. But they wouldn't let us because they said that he needed a debriefing, I think is the term. He's not the same. He has 6 children. They age from 22 to 10. The younger children really don't know their father. But when we visit with Doug and he comes to visit with us, he is so quiet. He's not the jovial person at 47. And all I can say, it takes a vet to understand these young men when they come home from war. So let these people have their say and let they have their own representation. I didn't think I was ever going to come up here and talk to you all about this, but being 74, I think I've lived a good life, and I would like to see all the veterans live a good life like I have. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the board?
Yes, sir, fine.
Yeah, come up and state your name to record.
My name's Joe Ritz. I've been in here in Lassen County, counting my military stint too, about 35 years. Retired from the Army, retired from Lassen County. I was always under the misconception that the Veteran Support Officer was hired by you, our board. Talking to Larry Rogers, good friend, and I thought he was a hell of a great veteran service officer. Personally, I think that's where it should be. I think it's admirable that we're discussing a pay increase for this person. We need someone who's going to stay there. I don't recall the name of the veteran service officer before Larry, but I understood he'd been there almost 20 years. Then Larry came in, had a military retirement, worked for the county. Honestly, when I was in the military, I had a job that I had to keep a security clearance, a very high clearance. If I was caught talking to a doctor without my commander's approval, especially going to see a shrink, I was out of a job. I was out of the military. I know it's changing a little today, but you still won't see me going to see a shrink. I'm a vet. I rely on the people that were next to me, not my president. You need a vet in that office who answers to you, answers to these guys out here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. It's the pleasure of the board. Mr. Egan?
Sure. I have a couple comments and just a few points of clarification. Can everyone hear me? I'm Richard Egan. I'm the County Administrative Officer, for those of you that I don't know. I wanted to point out to the board that the current organizational structure of the Veterans Building and the Veteran Service Officer organization, because I think it's kind of important to understand where we're coming from. The building itself is currently under the management direction of the Department of Public Works and Buildings and Grounds. It's managed by that department, and frankly, I think they've done a great job in conjunction with the task force over the last several years in improving the job. And it's their job to manage the physical structure, make it available for the veterans organizations and house the other community events that go on there. Somewhat separate from that, the Veteran Services Officer operation is managed under the Department of Health and Social Services. It's been like that, established by county ordinance for, I'm not sure how long, a very, very long time. So for those that are under the impression that the Veteran Services Office has been a separate department in those terms reporting to the Board of Supervisors, it hasn't been like that for as long as, maybe some